day 8 of being a girl, and I've gotten some messages that are saying that I need to be calling myself a woman and not a girl. And I didn't even know that some women were offended by being called girls, so that's really good to know. But for me, the word girl feels great because I never got to be one growing up. And it feels very able to make mistakes and growing and changing and evolving, whereas the word woman feels very strong and confident and powerful, and that still intimidates me a little bit. So I'm gonna keep calling myself a girl. Hope that's okay. Love ya.
The more we see of Dylan, the more justified I feel with that ending.
Especially after Matt Walsh, like in the recent comments, like, "Oh, I could steal your husband." Like, yeah, he's right. Like, he's like, you still have, a penis between your legs. I mean, that doesn't change it.
What just happened?
All the makeup, all that.
Have you not seen the Matt?
Did you run the intro?
Walsh's, like,
was that for an intro?
Yes.
Okay. It didn't play it didn't play it for me. And then it was like it cut me out and cut me back in, and you're talking about
he just heard like penis. He's like, what?
Clyde.
Okay.
Clyde's just Clyde's coming in hot to the penis conversation. Right. Has no idea what's going on. Sounds like you're having some connection issues. You're a little bit
my internet
glitchy there. Well, we're all pretty rural, so we all have like really shitty internet. And then on days like today,
it's as much as a real internet as Dylan is a woman, I guess, right?
That's right. Yeah. Did y'all see the Matt Walsh thing? I thought it was really funny. The people who were commenting on how mean it was of Matt Walsh to say that. It's like, yeah, fuck you though. Like, it's especially
like the quality of the people that we're talking about. Like, you know who they are. It's like, okay, well, like, I get why you would be upset by this. Like Hannah Cox and all the
that's just so mean. I'm like, yeah, fuck him though. Like, that's like my comment. I said, there was a time when we were a civilized society where you would just beat the shit out of somebody like Dylan and move on and ignore the little fruit. But here we are. I have to put him up at the Grammys or whatever it was. What was the award
and
ceremony?
And they would become normal. Like they would become normal after that.
Right. You would beat their ass, ignore them for a while, and then they would like drop the whole dumbass act and go back to being a normal human being, and everybody got to move on with life.
And then they might have, eventually they might have gotten some self-improvement out of that.
Right. Or and there are going to be the activist types that say, you're doing stuff like that is what led to all of these people committing suicide. I said, yeah, but if you look at it statistically, they were probably going to do that anyway. So he thought it was really funny. I really enjoy doing these with the kids in the truck for at least this first portion because I don't censor myself on any of this stuff. And Katie largely ignores me because she's smart, but Sean sits here and listens, and his face gets real red his face gets real red when I say certain things. Like I can't believe that just came out of my dad's mouth, but you should absolutely believe it. Like this is 100% par for the course for me. I don't do filters, do I?
Nope.
But yeah, the Dylan thing. I thought it was funny. The clip of like, oh, I can.
You want to let
Clyde
back
I can
in?
steal your husband. Oh, Clyde's not.
Hey,
should be able to let himself back in.
He dropped out. No, he can't let himself back in because he signed out of. Bye, Sean. He signed out of the control part, and now he's just in as Normal Clyde, not
His
Clyde
father
with control.
won't tell him goodbye, but I will. Just looking out for the kids these days.
Look, we're going to see Quantum Mania tonight. Whenever they get out of school,
Oh,
so
God.
they're
See what?
being well treated as children today.
What are you seeing?
The new
Why are
Ant-Man
you-
movie.
Ant-Man,
What?
the new
Ant-Man.
Ant-Man movie.
It's retarded.
Look, this
Why
is a
would you do
shtick.
that?
I know this is a shtick that you're doing. You're pretending you don't know what a Marvel movie is, and it's
Oh,
He
cute.
pretends he doesn't know about football. He doesn't
doesn't
know
know.
about Marvel movies.
tight end. Do they play on the offense or the defense?
That I still couldn't tell
And
you.
then he picks
Well-
one of the best teams in the league. Like,
No, I didn't. I came in last.
What is this? What is this
I mean-
punting thing? Why do they punt? I don't understand. Love you, dear. See you this evening.
I mean, he picks Josh Allen. He picks,
I
who
know,
was it?
stacked.
He had a stacked team, and then just because they got injured, he got screwed.
He'll say that he set up the auto draft, but or that he let auto draft do it. But we all know
No, I did it by
secretly
hand.
he was running that whole thing behind the scenes. He knew exactly who he wanted.
No. See, I thought the Bills were going to win the Super Bowl. I figured this was going to be their year. But then after that, I had no idea. I was looking at numbers, as they came
Look,
across
see,
the screen.
after the DeMar Hamlin thing, they couldn't let the Bills win the Super Bowl. That would be too obvious, right?
Yeah, but it seems like it seems right up their alley. I mean, they rigged it later, so it'd be two black quarterbacks, and we had to have.
They had to
that
have the
is it.
Chiefs win because Mahomes has to get a ring.
He's already got a ring. He doesn't need
Yes,
another
one?
one.
He needs another ring. Yeah, he's got to have 2 rings. Okay, we got to make
Has,
Mahomes. Mahomes has got to be the
Next
new,
Tom Brady.
like better than Tom Brady, even. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see it.
They got to get him to surpass Tom Brady, and then you can talk about like, oh well, like Mahomes is the GOAT, instead of like
Yeah.
Tom Brady's the GOAT.
instead of some white guy.
Yeah,
makes
some
sense.
pasty white New Englander or whatever.
I mean, could they have picked a lighter skinned, more white sounding dude for that? Like that's just he's high yellow with a like real Midwestern accent. He's not.
They're just gonna put it. They bring his father on for interviews. Yeah.
If they wanted,
Yes.
I mean, if they wanted to be serious about this, they'd let Jalen Hurts win the Super Bowl, and really done it right. Because Jalen Hurts is a legit black dude.
Is that who the Eagles
Patrick
quarterback was?
Mahomes.
I thought it was Donovan
Yes.
McNabb or something.
Yeah, 20 years ago. Yes.
Yeah.
McNabb should have had a Super Bowl at some point. He should.
I thought I saw his name being thrown out with the Eagles in the Super Bowl this year, and I was like, oh yeah, okay. Because I know he played there one time. I guess he was still there, but apparently not.
Remember the Donovan McNabb Super Bowl, and who was the Freddie Mitchell was the wide receiver on the team that said he was calling the plays in the huddle because Donovan McNabb was like throwing up in the huddle, and like that was all
yes,
kinds of crazy shit.
Yeah, like apparently Donovan McNabb couldn't handle the stress or whatever.
Did they win? Did he win?
Freddie Mitchell, who looked like
they lost.
Freddie Mitchell, who looked like he was straight up methed out. Like his hair was always crazy, his beard was all matted and like patchy. Like, dude, nobody believes that you were calling plays in the huddle. Anyway, he looked about like Clyde's Twitter profile picture.
I like that guy. I wish I was his friend. I'd like to know him. I bet he's got stories, dude. Dude could keep you up
I
on
bet
days telling stories.
Guarantee you that dude's got some stories.
Hey man, I don't do seen it. I seen it.
Seen it. Somebody pull up the today's show title is "See You Next Tuesday." Somebody pull up that article. I guess it'll have to be Trey. The we can't the word that we're not allowed to say on YouTube. But I've said it a bunch on this show, and we haven't had any videos get taken down where I said it. So I don't think that's
See, where's-
I wonder if
legit.
it's.
But
Well, it could. I wonder if it's new. And
or
it's
is
just
this
like a
or is this
retroactive
something
type thing.
that's going to be enforced going forward now that there's going to be like a new YouTube boss or something?
Let's see, where's
Is it
Well-
going to be like regional?
Like only certain-
Regional.
only certain parts of the country where you're not allowed to say it.
Well, I mean, parts of the world, right? Where like maybe like in that little country that like canes you for spitting on the sidewalk, but Singapore. Yeah, maybe
Oh, yeah,
Singapore.
Singapore.
They ban it.
Israel.
Where's
Israel, yeah, Israel bans it.
I'm pretty sure there are certain words that are already banned there. So
I don't
Yeah.
see an article talking about. Oh, let's see.
There
It
was
was
just
in
there was like a YouTube clip or something.
it was
Or,
on the
like,
Twitter chat.
Some Jesus.
Oh, here it
You
is.
That's-
guys, you guys are
This is what happens
disgusting.
when I'm not running things.
This is what you always say, and yet nothing changes.
Well,
I don't really
that's
care.
that's on y'all though. That's on y'all though to be better. Like
No,
I say it
no, no.
thinking that you're going to take the hint and you're going to like start doing show prep and show up more than 7
you go.
seconds before we have to start the show, and then none of these things ever happen. It's always me sitting in the room waiting for other people to show up, and then
Yeah.
sitting here going into the
That's what you're so
Discord
used to,
or
though,
the going on to Signal saying, I'm not going to do a show by myself. If y'all aren't showing up, I'm just going to cancel it. And then everybody decides to show up all of a sudden.
No, it's because the show starts at 8:30. That's when I get here.
This is
less prep, the more
Ackman,
real it
and
is.
it's not an article. I didn't find an article about it, but apparently Ackman is saying like if you're making YouTube content, do not say the word "see you next Tuesday." Had 2 videos hit with timestamps where the word "CUNT" is spoken. So your video is likely. My heart bleeds for Australia because they say that like as a term of endearment too. So
Yeah.
It's really it's really funny
it would be
how-
funny if they did it regionally, like oh well, you can't say it in America or what?
Yeah.
Well, even British, like even the British kind of do. So what are you
Yeah.
gonna do there?
I mean, the British refer to cigarettes as fags. Like, how are you going to sit to them?
Yeah. Just
or
talk
what
my
about
cancer
the?
stick.
Say the actual, like, what they mean when they say fag and cunt and all this other stuff is completely different from what, like, if I'm calling you a miserable cunt, then it might be offensive. But if somebody from England or Australia is calling you a miserable cunt, it probably means that they love you and want to give you a big hug. That dude had some sort of a flag on the back of his truck, and it looked like a middle finger. And then as I got closer, I realized it was some sort of a flag. But I don't know. Things are weird. Sorry, that was a totally derailed.
Yeah.
But again,
So-
that's another one of those things that like I can flip y'all off, and y'all know that I mean it as a term of endearment. But if I flip the person next to me
Do
off,
you?
I mean I'm going to run you off in the median.
So we were talking about YouTube. Here's the Susan Wojcicki is stepping down apparently after working at Google for nearly 25 years. She's
Freaking
stepping
rainy,
in.
man. Every damn weekend. We have like real nice weather during the week. And then Friday
rain.
rolls around and just freaking
Rain.
pours.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was 70 the
Fucking
past 2 days. This morning I get
Yeah.
up, go out to get in the truck. It's 23 degrees. Like, fuck you.
What the hell, man? Come on. All right, sorry. Susan
Mother-
Wojcicki.
Mother Nature is a cunt.
Yeah.
Careful now. Careful now.
And I don't mean that as a
Get
term
the
of endearment.
video's gonna be demonetized even though we don't have monetization. So
We will never get monetization. There's
Yeah,
no,
we could. We got to call Uncle David and other folk.
Uncle David.
David Duke.
Different kind of monetization there, buddy.
Okay, I'm sure there's some there's a slush fund they use for wayward individuals that they can just kind of kick our way.
So Wiki is stepping down from YouTube, and she's got to start a new chapter about focus on family, health, and personal projects. Which so unlike a lot of people, like I think that other than the, I mean, YouTube is censorious, right? But I think that she wasn't as bad as probably what's going to be next was my guess, and that's why like I whenever I commented on it, it's like it's probably about to be worse. And if you look at Neil Mohan or whatever, I don't know how to say it, Neil Mohan, is probably much worse because he was bragging about like how many videos that they've had taken down for like hate speech and all this kind of stuff. So he's actively bragging about that, and now he's going to be the CEO.
Well, I mean that was how it was with Twitter. Jack stepped down, and then the next guy was infinitely worse. I mean that's how it's worked in every other like power transfer that's happened. Boris Johnson stepped down, and then the next woman was worse, and then she stepped down. And then she stepped down.
And then Boris is back.
And the guy that's followed her is even worse. Like they can't do anything. What was?
Does it
Macron?
matter?
Has Macron stepped down yet? Like he?
No, Macron's he's staying strong apparently. even with all the supposed riots and everything.
He did.
Wait,
didn't
he
resigned?
resigned?
He was waiting for the.
He literally resigned and was waiting for his replacement to be chosen. I mean, what the hell happened with that? Or they just decided?
Oh no, they rejected it.
Somebody.
They
rejected his resignation. Man, the French are such fucking pussies. What a bunch of cunts.
We're not gonna let you resign. We like you. We're gonna keep you. That's a really.
If Macron had any balls, he'd have been like, "No, fuck you, I'm leaving anyway," and then just like left them with a power vacuum. That's the way he should have done it.
As far as I know, like nobody's like stepped in to replace him, so he's just kind of like acting like passively.
He's just hanging on.
I just leave. Just like clock out at the end of the day one day and be like, "Hey, I'm not coming back. Y'all better figure this shit out." And then just
hop on a plane down to Jamaica.
Everybody shows up on Monday morning at 8:00. They're like, "I wonder if he's actually not coming back." And then they just sit around waiting all day when you don't ever come back. And they're like, "Well, maybe we should actually consider doing something about this."
How funny would that be for like a national leader of some country to just like disappear and chill on the beach somewhere and run an interview later, so we all know that they're alive, but just like that first day of chaos, like where did they go?
Do it Cliff Kingsbury style and just like disappear to Thailand. Be like, I'm not coming back. Fuck y'all.
Yeah. I'd do it. But really, does YouTube really matter though? I mean, like, there's so many different platforms out there. Like, most of the crap on YouTube is crap, and it doesn't matter. Like, censor it all you want. Like, in order to get monetized on YouTube, you gotta have like 1,000 subscribers, something like that, some absurd number, and like they shadow ban the crap out of everything already. Like, forget it. Like, you're not gonna win on YouTube.
The point of that is to have a barrier of entry, so that way they can like tailor. Okay, well, only the people who are getting pushed out and following all of the best practices are going to get 1,000 subs. So then, when they get 1,000 subs, then we know that they're approved, an approved YouTuber, I guess. That's kind of their metric, because like, okay, if they've been promoted in our algorithm enough to get 1,000 subscribers, then in theory they've done the work to be like censor themselves enough to be a part of the YouTube Partner Program.
But it's censor that, but it's right. But you're censoring yourself enough, like, because it's not just words, right? It's ideas. And it's like heavily leaning. So if your ideas are going to be censored, like, go somewhere else. You already have Rumble. You already have Odyssey. You already have like all these other video platforms. Like,
oh yeah, I agree. I think that Rumble has the best future. Like, I liked Odyssey when they first came out. But they can't innovate. Like, Rumble has backing. And that's why, like, whenever a lot of people were really upset that Rumble was going public, like, to get funding, and I was like, no, this is actually the best thing that could happen for Rumble. Like, if they have funding they can actually compete. Like if with Odyssey, they were hoping that they wouldn't, basically they wouldn't have the whole SEC lawsuit, they wouldn't have all this stuff, that they could be able to continue working on the platform, and maybe using LBC to fund some of that or whatever, however it may be, if they could generate it that way. But they couldn't do that because of the way the lawsuit and everything that happened. And BitChute can invest so the best thing that we got is Rumble right now, I think, because they can actually invest in the platform and make it better.
Sounds like a hole that needs to be filled.
I'd say BitChute's still trying to do like crowdfunding type stuff, which is I actually really like BitChute as a platform. It's pretty easy to navigate if you can get your upload to work. That's like I can get an upload to work on BitChute like 3/4 of the time, but there's that other quarter of the time that it finishes uploading and it says it's processing and then it never processes, and so the video just never posts. But like otherwise, BitChute's a pretty good platform. But yeah, they're always running like we need funding campaigns and trying to crowdsource there, which I mean that's the way things would work, in the ideal Ancapistan is you crowdsource everything for your funding, and if people want it, then people will pay to make it happen, and if not, then obviously the market has spoken. But that's a tough situation to be in.
But like here, so like this is why I think that the Rumble thing, like with them actually getting investor funding, was much more important, because that's where you get real funding. Like they had access now. They're making commercials. They're improving the platform. Like they're doing all this kind of stuff because they have funding, and they wouldn't be able to get that access to that kind of money if they just crowdsource and crowdfund like this. Like because you're trying to get blood from a stone when you're crowdsourcing against a large competitor like YouTube. You're just trying to because there's so many people who are already using that platform who don't want to switch, who if you can make it as easy as possible and improve your platform, which requires money, then you can actually compete. But until then, you need a lot of money. But I think Rumble is in a position now where they don't need as much money to keep going. They can kind of work on the platform a little bit at a time.
When you go public like that, are you beholden to different laws than if you were to, crowdsource? I don't mean, like the whole SEC laws, but I mean in terms of like publication or what you're allowed to host on a platform or what you're held liable for on a platform. Like
no.
I don't think so.
Now you can have.
But, I don't know if there's some.
The problem is you do need to have since you have shareholders, you do need a board of directors. So if you create a board of directors, and if you have anyone hostile within the board of directors potentially, and especially since those are probably some of your bigger investors, if they can definitely sway how you decide to censor or whatever. So if like that's the problem with public corporations, is like if the the board of directors or the shareholders like decide like, oh well, we want more censorship or we want this or that, then they can just they can make an appeal to like the board of directors, and if the board of directors wants to do this kind of stuff, then they'll say like, hey, I want you to censor, or else I'm gonna like withdraw I'm gonna pull my stock out of the company.
Yeah.
And just take the money and run.
Oh well. Justin frozen.
But with something like no, y'all were talking. I'm not cutting in. With something like Rumble, like I feel like the people who are going to be investing in that, and unless it gets to a point where it's like actual nefarious agents who are doing it for subversive purposes, like the people who are investing in that aren't going to be doing that. And also, if it is nefarious agents who are doing that for subversive purposes, you're going to see that pretty clearly. And then that kind of shows, hey, this is the whole reason that we had to create a Rumble, was because these are the fuckers who have all the money and they're controlling shit. And then you can like paint the picture of, look, these are the actual bad guys. these are the people that we need to be targeting to go fuck them up, because they are the ones who are like, you can use that against those people. Like, it's not that you should weaponize their attempted censorship against them, especially if you're on if you have a platform like Rumble, and the whole purpose of it was to get away from that kind of stuff and to be able to have legitimate free speech and to share thoughts and ideas and stuff. If you have people like that who are being that subversive element coming into it, then you use your platform to absolutely put them on blast and run them out on a rail. Like, that's
the advantage that they have.
That a lot of these
we already have,
people
you already
have
see that
is you don't want to be mean. You don't want to like call people out and name names and stuff like that. Like, you just want to go along to get along. Fuck that shit. If somebody is coming as a subversive element, put their name out there, put them on blast, show everybody in the world who they are and what they are, and fuck them. That should be the approach.
That's what they did with like the Twitter files, basically, though, right? I mean, like, isn't that kind of what they did? And like, how far did that go? I mean,
yeah, but that was that was not as big an impact as something like being a public company. Like, after they took Twitter private, and after those people are no longer at the company, it has no relevance. Like, that's why Yoel Roth is like, why are you attacking me? Like, because it doesn't matter at that point. Like, you're attacking someone who no longer works for the company. But if it's like, hey, the shareholders trying to, like, butt in and try to, make waves and make us censor stuff, and we don't want that. So, like, in a lot of investors, like, if you had a lot of money to throw around, you could just be like, okay, well, I'm gonna buy more shares, and I have more percentage than that guy of the company. And it's, that's kind of how you handle it. Like, okay, well, if he wants to do this, and or like they're on the board of directors, like, say you have a subversive on the board of directors, well, the board can vote just to oust them. Like, okay, well, we voted you out. Like, you are off the island. Goodbye.
Right, like going after Yoel Roth and all the others who no longer work for Twitter, and it's beating the proverbial dead horse. Like, there's no purpose in it. Like, what are you going to do? Fire them again? They're already out, and it doesn't accomplish anything. Like, you have to hit people in real time and hit them when it actually affects them, and when they're actually.
You need to go to wood chipper. I mean, I don't feel like that. Like, that matters today or yesterday or 2 years from now. If you need a wood chipper, you need a wood chipper. Now you should be held to that standard.
That's a different
higher
thing,
level
though.
Of standard. Yeah.
The wood chipper thing is a different thing. Like, those people, yes, they are that no matter what. Like, Yoel Roth and the others, like, they're out of Twitter, so they don't have the influence to do the things that they were doing. So it's like, it's a moot point.
I know. I'm trying to be light on a Friday, man.
You're trying to be funny, but we're being. This is our serious Friday. We don't do these very often. Usually we do dick jokes and talk about MILFs and GILFs and whatever else.
See, we don't have Dag here to balance it out.
Yeah.
Do we have any MILF articles or weird, like, what did I saw something?
I mean, we can talk about Made. We could talk about.
Made is serious. Made is serious. That's not funny.
Okay,
we don't.
I got
Made on a Friday.
I got a funny one.
Made
I did see a thing. No Made on a Friday. No, that's not.
What about Keith?
Here we go.
Trying to start
Armed robber stayed at crime scene to eat victim's fried chicken. Prosecutors say. Chicago man.
Was it meth? Was it meth?
Let's see.
It's always meth.
Let's see.
This has got to be fake. This has got to be fake. Did you see the line where it talks about the tasty meal or something, like the delicious meal, like the way they talk about the fried chicken? Say, this has to be fake. There's
no way. Hold on, let's see.
I don't know, dude. The world's gone crazy.
There was a guy that was talking about, like, oh yeah, like I've seen a lot of funny clips.
Wouldn't it be some shit if, like, the dude had stolen like $496 worth of merchandise from this person, so it kept them under it being like a felony? It was still just a misdemeanor, but then the police are like, but you stole their chicken dinner too, and you ate that, so that puts it at $503. That puts it up to a felony. You're going to jail, motherfucker.
Is CWB Chicago a legit rag, or is that fake?
I mean,
I don't know.
the simple fact is it's Chicago. Like, anything's possible.
I mean,
This
there
is-
is a real article
I mean-
here. There is a real article here. But I don't know, like, if it's satire or not. I can't tell.
What are some of the other links look like?
Yeah, click on the homepage and see what's listed.
Click on
that's-
that lady's face.
That's usually how you can tell.
Up and
You
away.
got to
Major
take a
crimes
class
of
with one of these like New Jersey kids or something, man. You need to get you one of these government classes to teach you how to decipher propaganda.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, misinformation they call it now.
96
Learning how to
photos,
ferret out-
Seven
Learning how to
times
ferret out
seven?
what's real and what's fake.
Lug this safe out of an edge one. I mean, these are close. Like I don't know.
Are those two articles the same guy? The chicken one and the one above it?
No, these are different guys.
Okay.
Claude looked like this guy. This black guy. This black guy looked the same.
All black people look alike is what Clyde's getting at.
Yeah.
Let's see here. What is this guy? He was within arm's reach. Huh?
What did he do?
Speaking of officers, I have a story.
Because
Okay, tell your story.
All right, so my kid runs like middle school track, right? He's homeschooled, so I have to drop him off at the school before practice starts, and I dropped him and his friend off because I work with anyway, and so I pull into the front of the school. There's like 5 handicap spots, like right in front of the school, you know, and there's not a whole lot of other spots. I could stop in the middle of the lane of traffic and let them out. But I don't feel like that's safe because then they got to cross the road. There's other cars, whatever. So I pull into the handicap spot and I don't even turn the car off. Okay. I put it in neutral, kids get out, put it in reverse, I back up and I go. This time the officer came over and tapped on my window and had to roll it down. He's like, do you have a handicap tag? I was like, no. It's like, wait, you can't use the handicap spot. Don't park here. Don't use it. I was like, dude, I'm just dropping them off. Like, apparently that's not okay. You cannot turn around in a handicap spot. School resource officers, man. Like it's like, this is, if you want to leave a bad
You
taste,
should have been like,
right?
motherfucker, I will use whatever parking spot I want.
Yeah, and then I don't really know if I want to do that with kids in the car, you know.
Like start a war.
Might end poorly. I was just like, man, are we for real? Like what are you supposed to do, right? Like, would you rather I like stop traffic and send kids across a road where other cars are
Yes.
moving?
That's what you should have said. You should have said, would you rather I stop in the middle of the road and just dump the kids there in traffic? Or do you want me to actually use an available parking spot that no handicapped people are
I'm
parked in?
not even parking. That's the thing. I'm not parking. I'm not even parking. I'm just turning around. You know what I mean? Like, I guess without a handicap placard, you're not allowed to even like touch that spot. I mean, like, how does that go? I didn't realize there was.
Whenever I have to like run into a store or something, I hand the kid and I have to leave the kids in the truck. I hand them this. I'm like, if somebody tries to carjack the truck, you slash that throat. Ain't nobody stealing our truck.
We just paid this thing off. Ain't nobody taking it out. Yeah.
And every time when I come back out, they always hand it back to me. They're like, nobody came and tried to get in the truck. It's like, well, damn.
Damn.
So
Yeah,
disappointing.
yeah. Your kids probably went
What's
down.
up
I
with
wanted to hear.
What's up
your
crime
story.
rate around here? Gosh.
Our
It
Man,
wouldn't be a
we
Friday
got,
show if I didn't pull weapons out.
like nothing fun. Is there? Wasn't there? South Carolina, I think.
There's
What about
another
South
train
Carolina?
derailment in Michigan.
I think.
Yeah.
And
Let's see if I
are
can
they
get them.
now? I know there's like derailments, right? And like, I haven't seen any of these articles or anything. Are they just like passenger trains, or are these like all trains carrying chemicals that are derailing? Like,
There are hardly any passenger trains left in the U.S. at all.
well,
Very
okay.
few.
So are they carrying like furniture to Ashley, or are they all carrying like toxic chemicals that look like nuclear bombs that
Seems
I mean,
seems
it's
like
all a
all the ones that
mix.
have been derailing lately have been carrying toxic chemicals. I mean, I know there
That's
are
what
other
I'm saying.
trains
It
that
seems
cut.
like, you know,
I know there are trains that carry coal and grain and things like that, but they're not the ones that are derailing currently. Or if they are, they're not derailing to the point that like they're creating
in the
spills,
news.
and we're having actual news coverage of it, which I'm surprised that the amount of news coverage these are starting to get now. I guess at some point, like, they can't just keep not talking
They
about it.
can't, yeah. And I think it, you know, I wonder if they're not doing some of these now almost on purpose because the first one was so bad and it kind of takes eyes off of the
Oh, there's
issue.
more. There's plenty more. It happens all the time, right?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
and we did talk about that the other day. Like, it does happen all the time, but like, what happens is usually not to the extent of what has been happening with these. Like,
Well, it's never like noteworthy that, oh my God, like, you know, these towns have to be evacuated. Oh my God, like pets are dying. Oh my God.
and
like,
actually actually
yeah.
the evacuation thing is not all that uncommon either. Like,
So I just
so back home where I'm from, there's a big switch yard there in Fulton, and usually they only evacuate like a couple blocks around the switch yard, but like a train or a car will tip over, or something will something will happen, and they'll evacuate like the immediate little area, the couple blocks around the switch yard, because most of those cars that go through there are carrying some sort of hazardous chemical. So and usually it's just as a precaution. Like, a lot of times nothing actually spills. There's not actually a problem, but a car will come off
label
the
it
tracks
as an incident.
Right, a car will come off the tracks. They'll evacuate everybody in a 2 to 3 block radius of the switch yard. They'll bring in the cranes and stuff. They'll get the car put back on the tracks, and then people will come back. I mean, and there was one time when a anhydrous ammonia car did actually start to leak, and like, I was driving home on the highway, like, I guess it was about a half a mile, 3/4 of a mile away from the switch yard, and I was like, "Oh God, where's that coming from?" And then when I got to the house, Dad told me that they had a car leak severely and had to evacuate a part of town, and like, so it's not that stuff is super uncommon. It's just usually it doesn't affect a real wide radius.
Did y'all see the movie? There's some movie that came out a little while ago that was basically like what happened in Ohio.
This exact thing.
The same Utopia was like, you know, a precursor for COVID. They had a movie that was a precursor for Ohio. No?
Why does that not surprise me?
I saw about that.
I know, right? It really is like, is this what gaslighting is? I'm finally understanding it, right? I never know, and now I have real world examples that are.
What was the event 101? What was the event 101 for the rail car derailment? Like, where did they war game this idea before they put it in a movie, and then after they got the movie done, they're like, okay, now we know like how to actually do this. Let's go make it happen.
Now you implement it.
Did Antifa put out messages about derailing trains? What would be the point of that? Just to cause chaos?
Yes.
Giving anarchists a bad name.
Well, I mean, the whole point is like, if you look at it and you look at, if you've listened to Yuri Bezmenov or whatever, like, he talks about like the stages, like, you need to look it up. Like, I'll send you a link if you want in the group chat. But there's a good lecture that he does. He talks about it like the basically there's like 5 stages, like it's almost like 5 stages of grief, but it's like different stages of how like countries are overrun with like the communists and this kind of stuff. And one stage is like crisis, where they just like basically enact a lot of like chaos in order to like make people really unstable. Like, you make the environments unstable for people to live in, and they're going to be incapable of doing anything. And so of course they're going to want somebody to come in and clean up the mess. which is always the communists who can like, oh well, we can take care of the motherland, you know.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
We will clean up the disaster. We will find the people responsible. We will put them before a firing squad. We will get them to confess to all of their sins and to confess to all of their co-conspirators who just so happen to be a bunch of anti-government people that we don't like anyway. We will firing squad all of them, and then silently all of their friends and relatives, and any cohorts will also just kind of disappear behind the scenes, and we will control your life for you and make sure everything is good forever.
See, that sounds less like Antifa and more like just the current government.
Antifa's not the ones making plans. They're the ones who are going to be
they're the ones enacting the plans. Yeah,
right.
They're just ones.
You got to have a fall guy somewhere. Like
So
somebody's got to be the
get
one
put
that
to the
ends up.
wall.
Yeah, somebody's got to end up being the one that gets put in front of the wall and shot in the head.
Buffalo Chief.
And
man.
usually it's going to be, and the people who get put in front of the wall and shot in the head there's two types of people who are in that group: the people who are the enemies of the state and the people who actually know what the state's doing. Antifa would be in group 2. We would be in group 1.
Strange bad folk, but yeah, I get it.
And we're gonna find this really weird time here in a couple years where Antifa are actually our allies because we're all on the same hit list, just for different reasons. Just for different reasons.
All of a sudden, like join forces. It's like, could I fight alongside Antifa?
And the Mexicans will always live on, I guess, right?
That's right.
According to Carlos, anyway. I don't know.
Yes.
I'm glad to see Carlos is still alive. I was kind of wondering about that lately. I haven't seen him.
Who?
He's been setting up a new business and everything.
Oh yeah, Carlos been busy.
Yeah. Figured you're just down.
Carlos
playing
putting in
soccer.
Check out the
work.
most recent episode of. Check out his most recent episode of Los Libertinos. He got some guy on there bashing religion. It's really fun. It's not exactly what it is, but sort of kind of.
No. We should just run silence for the last little bit here. Did you guys see this?
They
This
just sit here
tweet
and
from
stare.
Jack P. I can't say his last name. South Africa's energy grid is collapsing because they wrote critical race theory into their constitution in the 90s. Do you guys know anything about South Africa?
Wouldn't surprise me. South Africa. South Africa has a very weird history. Like the what?
No, I know. Have you paid attention to any of what's going on, like currently?
Yeah, South Africa is us in 10 years.
Yeah, I mean basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean So South Africa went through the whole, I guess.
You had apartheid.
Fixing apartheid. It then gave. It's the energy grid in South Africa is effectively the water problem in Jackson, Mississippi.
Yeah.
Jackson. No, Flint has other problems. Flint. That's a whole separate thing. The water problem in Jackson, Mississippi, is the closest parallel to the energy problem in South Africa. Like they put people in charge of this who should not have been in charge of it because of effectively diversity hires and stuff like that. Like to be
like race nepotism. Like I call it race nepotism or whatever.
Equity or equality or whatever. I don't know what the correct word is, but trying to make sure that the fair share of people have a fair representation in all of these things. And then it turns out that all of these people don't actually know what the fuck they're doing. And so they run this thing into the ground. And then when the thing finally hits the ground and just crashes and burns, and it's like, oh my gosh, look at what white people did. And all the white people are like, We weren't even involved at all. Like the fuck you
And,
talking
and
about?
aren't they like? Didn't they recently like as of like 2 or 3 years ago they were going after white farmers to try to get
they still
to get-
are.
They still are.
I mean,
They're
it's
trying
still,
to
you
get some of
still
that
see stuff.
land, like, and they basically like were coming onto the land, and like some of them fought back, I think, and they
No, they'll
were
kill
basically
'em.
labeled as racist.
No, they'll kill him. They'll go in and like kill him, take the land and stuff. I mean, it's happened numerous occasions. Like, I would not.
They're killing the farmers and taking their land, or the farmers are killing the people who are trying to take their land.
No,
I
'Cause if
think
you
a
try-
mix of both.
I say, try
probably
to
a
take
little
my.
bit of both. But I mean, well, you're not gonna do much when there's like
I've been just looking for an excuse to use that gun turret I built on the roof.
Minigun style.
I don't know. That's South Africa is one of the.
See, I just want to
do
get a
deep dive on that,
flamethrower
like, get
and
into
then
it.
slow burn.
They sell those at Walmart, or not Walmart, at Lowe's. You can get a little
Yeah.
flamethrower. My wife
Well,
won't let me have one. She's such a spoiled sport.
My local gun store actually sells that they got some kind of new flamethrower that you can do. Like it's basically like a civilian version of like what you remember the one that like Elon did. It's basically like that, but an improved version, one that actually works.
When I was a kid, there was a house near us that they basically condemned and burned it down, and I forget what they used. It was like laundry detergent and gasoline or diesel fuel, maybe. That they like.
Yeah,
sprayed out.
why is this the first time we're hearing about Trey having an uncle with a gun store?
No, I don't have a.
Yeah.
No, I have a gun store near me.
You said your uncle with the gun store.
No.
Yes, you did. Those were.
No,
We're gonna
You
put.
said
We're gonna
something. I couldn't tell what he said.
No.
hit, hit rewind and play that back where he said his
No.
uncle and his uncle's gun store. They have a
No.
flamethrower.
No.
Uncle, dad, brother, who knows?
You won't know the secrets. Y'all won't get the secrets.
Well, I mean, it's Alabama.
I mean, it is Alabama. I guess everybody's related there. Ultimately,
I mean, you're not like in some ways you're not wrong. Like
what's the T-shirt? Alabama, like 7 million people, 4 last names.
look, there's 8 last names. Okay, we got a little bit of variety here.
It's all that forced integration.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Does the Gulf Shore of Alabama get a whole lot of like Cuban immigrants paddling up on rafts and stuff, or do they mostly go to Florida?
No, we mostly get like a lot of like people from Mexico or like.
Oh, y'all get the Mexicans swimming across, taking the.
Yeah.
How far is that? That's gotta be like. Why don't we get them on like the Olympic swim team?
Is that why they call them wetbacks? Because they. Just like wondering out loud. I'm not using that as a racial slur. I'm asking an actual question. Like, is it?
All of a sudden, Carlos exits the chat.
Carlos is going to answer the question. That's why I asked it.
He's gone.
He knows.
I mean, it probably is. I would assume because they arrive and they're all wet.
Lord. I don't know. Yeah.
Oh, it's because
Prefers mojito?
now we got to look up words.
Is that like mojito?
I like
Mojito,
mojitos. Mojitos aren't bad. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, that's just wet. Like mojito means wet.
Ah. So they just call
and
themselves-
it is a like a term for illegal immigrants.
So
So-
mojito is the Spanish version of wetback.
Mojito is what you can. It's what you can use and not have a bunch of people jump down your throat.
It's
see
the
it, same
appropriate.
message across, you
It's
know?
the appropriate way of saying it. It's the non-offensive. That's the non-offensive word for it.
But it's probably even more offensive. It's just that not everybody's gonna pick up on
It's-
it, right? It's
yeah,
only a few are gonna be like, "Oh, you asshole." You know, everybody else is gonna be like, "What?"
It's like offensive, more offensive within like the Spanish culture, but then like for like Americans that don't speak Spanish at all, it's just like, well, like everybody who just speaks English, it's like, well, what is they saying? Like mojado? I don't know. Tomato.
Isn't that a color?
I'm gonna keep that one in my back pocket.
Oh goodness.
Silencio mojado.
So
Cállate mojado.
So what do we call Haitians, or do we just not call them anything because they will literally kill you?
Nighttime.
I mean, I probably wouldn't even.
Teeth.
What?
That's all you see is teeth.
Tito. Call him Tito.
I don't know.
Tito from
Anyway,
Haiti.
moving on.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Oh, I don't know.
What
man.
do we got for a closer? Got any like fun, stupid stuff? I mean, as if we're not stupid enough as it is.
No.
I
But
mean,
we
we
need
can talk
something-
about Chris Cuomo if you want to talk about Chris Cuomo.
Oh god.
That's always fun.
Why don't we
Chris
have to talk
Cuomo.
about Fredo?
Frodo. Fredo.
What's his brother doing
These
now?
days?
Apparently, he was going to.
He
off
should be in
everybody
jail,
and
but
himself.
he's not.
So-
what was
What?
his name?
He was
Fired
gonna
him?
off everybody and himself
Yeah.
after he got fired from CNN. Apparently,
Yeah. To me, that just sounds like it's just a cry for help. You weren't really going to do that. If you were going to do that, you wouldn't announce it to the world. Like, you know.
he dramatically claimed he was going to off everybody, including himself, when he was fired by CNN. And let's see,
What did he get fired for?
he made a lot of mistakes, and he got shit canned. There's damage that is relatable. There's damage that is unrelatable. That I'm
What did-
working on.
What did he get fired for?
He got touchy feely, if I remember
I
correctly.
say it was sexual harassment, I believe.
Yeah, it was at the some party or something, right?
Runs in
Yeah,
the
he groped somebody. He's just Italian.
runs in the
though.
runs in the family. Yeah. Say, Andrew was accused of doing all of that, and then Chris was accused of doing all that, and they both had to ride
That's
off into the sunset and just grope each other,
Yeah, well, yeah.
taking them back to their childhood days.
Yeah, I was gonna say it makes you wonder what Mario was doing, you know?
Well, I mean, he was getting up in the peach. Yeah, that's for sure. Mario gets up in the peach
Ugh.
like a good
What was his-
Italian.
What was his name? Not Fire Nipples. Danger
Pepper-
Nipples. What was his name?
I thought pepperoni. No,
Huh?
That's Tara Reid, not the Tara Reid that Joe Biden groped the actress Tara Reid.
Leah Thomas is back in the news. Speaking about groping people.
For what?
I don't know. More of the same stuff.
I don't think Leah Thomas groped anybody. He just swung his dick around in the locker room.
Yeah, I'm glad to see it's like kind of petering out. You know?
I mean, that's typical locker room behavior for
For
petering
boys.
out.
But like, so here's the question, right? Who's gonna break the gag sooner, Dylan or Leah?
I think Dylan's being pushed into like way more of a spotlight and like given this like massive like audience, and there's gonna be some point where they.
I feel like that's gonna be harder. That's even like as your base grows, right? It's so much further. To
Yeah, but eventually you have so much pressure on you that he's gonna crack. Like it, you can't keep it up. I mean,
Like,
You're gonna make some sort of sex tape, right?
like it's just gonna get to the point where it's so much and it's so much work to keep up the charade all the time, like, because it, at first it was just like little dumb TikTok videos, so you could do it for a few minutes a day,
And troll,
or a few
like,
minutes,
yeah.
or a few minutes a week even, and just like make it be this silly troll job. But once you hit the point of saturation that Dylan is getting to, like, it now has to be a full-time gig, and either you have to
Yeah, but I feel like that's almost
either you have to break your brain to just be that,
yeah.
which eventually is going to cause a mental breakdown, or it becomes so overwhelming, the stress of trying to be that all the time, that like you have to give up the game. And,
That's
like,
why
like,
a lot
I
of
can't-
actors. That's why a lot of young actors who just get thrust into fame are really incapable of handling it, because, like, someone like Hannah Montana, like Miley Cyrus or whatever, like,
Oh,
she freaking gets thrust into fame, and then all of a sudden, she's playing this character that people expect her to be the character, and she's not really the character. You see what I'm saying? Like, you literally are basically creating two personalities through your role you're playing.
Yeah, but I don't know. I see that, but I think it's probably just as easy to hide from it and just embrace it. Right? This is what I've become. This is my path. This is where I'm going. I feel like Leah is still like, can still get out of it, right? Like, kind of fade away once we graduate.
But Dylan's too like, Dylan can't escape it. Like he's too big, like too massive.
Right. You hit a point of saturation where you can't compartmentalize. Like, there's not me. There's not me in public and me in private. Like, it just becomes, I have to be this thing all the time.
I think it would probably be, I don't know, man. You have all those eyes looking at you. You have all that, like, I mean, that you if he came out and said this is a gag, like, he would have people that would try to kill him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you have to look at that as well, right? Like, it's so far to fall. He will die, right? Like, Leah, it's not, it's not that far. You're just some swimmer. You get done with college and you fade off into the black and nobody knows. You know what I mean? Like,
but I think, like, you're saying who's gonna break first though. Like,
yeah, who's gonna come out first and say, like, oh yeah, never mind, just playing, guys. Yeah.
Well, like, Dylan would do it out of like out of desperation, not necessarily out of like want to, like oh, like I can't deal with this anymore. Like, like you ever see someone like who just like completely overreacts, like they're like have a panic attack basically.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to be. It's going to be like panic attack. Like, I'm really just playing this up, you guys, and then all of a sudden, just there goes the facade. Like, no more, effeminate voice. Like, oh guys, I'm done. Like, I'm done with this. This sucks. I'm so done.
Rage quitting on national TV.
I don't think it would be a rage quit. I think it would be like a legit full-on mental breakdown, and like you would see the entire curtain drop as his entire like psyche just folds in on itself. Like, that's more what I see. Not like a confession so much as a just full-on, like, the whole thing comes just unspools all at once. And
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. I'm not convinced. Or maybe Dr. Jill will come out and be like, you know what, guys, I'm not actually a doctor.
If you believe that, then you're pretty retarded.
Because democracy basically means government by the people, of the people, for the people. But the people are retarded.